My name is Dylan CineMasai Green, and welcome to the Real Notes podcast. I speak with rappers, producers, journalists, and other hip-hop adjacent figures about their relationship with movies, and, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is Brooklyn via Jersey City rapper-producer Merkeba. We spoke about Hard Boiled and the works of John Woo, the art of making food, Elmo and Grouchland, cinema studies, growing up between JC and Atlanta, how his love for spoken word poetry and film led him to rap, performing pain in music, and the creative process behind his debut EP Mandolin and his debut album Metal Snake. Come fuck with us.
Okay, so unemployment cuisine. Unemployment cuisine. What's been, I mean, like, outside of the spaghetti you're making right now, what's been the best thing you've made on your post job journey?
I see. Well, okay, so let's talk about spaghetti more. It's not just regular spaghetti. It's Haitian spaghetti. So
Word.
I think people need to recognize. So what I did is, it's actually a really easy recipe. I'm not saying I do it in the Haitian way. I'm not Haitian. It could be trash. But I can't find like actual Haitian epis, but I just get like Jamaican green seasoning from the grocery store and just use it as a base and just throw some like aromatics in there as you're toasting the seasoning. And then you put some hot dogs in there and literally just use that as the base for a tomato sauce. And that's all I do. And so right now it's about to be done. But yeah, the pasta is just cooking in the sauce. Like, it's very regular. It's literally just hot dogs and tomatoes.
Yeah, beanies
But
and weenies type shit. Yeah.
you know, literally, because I mean, I tried the beanies and weenies. The beanies and weenies did not hit like I thought it did as a kid. That
Yeah.
shit was ass.
Yeah,
But
it's not good. It was never good.
oh my god,
It
I
was
was like,
never
oh, I used to kind of like that shit. Hell no. Um, that and this straight up cut up hot dog. That's a classic from my grandma. Had me on a cut up hot dog from back in the day. So I try to do that now, if I'm just feeling low blood sugar. But I learned that the best meal, I think, is, so I made some rice, one tacos, like just ground beef tacos, I think is my best meal. Um, but I made some rice with the tacos. I put some of this like sazon in the rice to make it yellow.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
classic.
I probably need some more seasoning, but I took that rice, and so I just used the rice as a basis for everything. So some of the ground meat from the taco that I didn't use, I put in the same tin as I put some callaloo or collard greens, as we call it in America, that I had like cooked from a can, like it's like $2. So I just took the ground beef and the callaloo and just put it in the rice and just
Mm.
cooked it all together. And I threw in some like a couple sauces, like a little bit of soy sauce in there just to flavor it some more. And it's really good, especially I think like I realized for me, you throwing like a greeny vegetable into a meal automatically elevates it for me. And again, those are cheap. And so yeah,
Yeah.
yesterday I took the same concept and made a fried rice out of it. By just taking the like yellow rice and just throwing it in there, obviously with some hot sauce, frozen vegetables. So like real cheap meals. All I really need is like sausage, rice, and a frozen vegetable, and I can get fed.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, like it's really awesome. Like, I mean, like, my lady is going through a weight loss journey right now, and like her whole,
Mm-hmm.
like she always jokes about how most of her meals these days are chicken and a vegetable. That's what we talk about
Exactly.
all the time, just chicken. And like, it really, like, even if you're not on that type of time, like, you'll be straight with just chicken and a vegetable and maybe some rice. And like,
Exactly.
for me personally, my thing right now is chicken thighs.
Mm.
Like, I grew up loving wings and breasts, but like chicken thighs are like, that's my
Facts.
favorite part of the bird right now. So like, to me, like, I can, like, I got two different versions of it I like to do. So normally it could just be some sort of just like whatever is seasoned, like pre-made and marinated chicken. It could be like
Mm-hmm.
chicken shawarma from Trader Joe's, or like I'll just
Facts.
go out and buy some plain joints and get like a marinade from ShopRite or something and put it in the bowl and then just do
Mm-hmm.
that over some cilantro. It's specifically cilantro limon Carolina in the the little microwave rice packet.
I
Like,
see. Yeah.
that's my favorite simple meal.
That
But
sounds
like,
good.
it's fire. I'm not gonna lie. But the one that I'm really proud of, I got it from this cookbook. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, because like with that one, you could do either the bone in, skin on, or just boneless, skinless. I
Mm-hmm.
tend to do the boneless, skinless. It's just easier to work with. But when I'm
Yeah.
feeling like putting in more effort, there's this joint I make with bone in, skin on chicken thighs. You make it. you mix it up in like some sort of like spirally pasta to make sure that it can
Okay.
catch all the shit I'm about to put in it. And it's
Okay.
like, so like I make it with fennel and onions and this like crazy, it's like, what goes in the shit? It's olive oil, minced garlic, crushed red pepper, and it's just like it's like a garlic herb paste. It has rosemary
Mhm.
and a bunch of other shit in it. So like I'll you do all that up in a pan
Mhm.
with some onions and some fennel and some other shit. You put like chicken stock in there. You mix all the stuff together. And before that, you crisp up the chicken skin nice and good. But you don't cook the chicken all the way because then
Okay. Yeah.
you're gonna mix everything together and then put that pan in the oven for like 45 minutes. Take that out,
Oh.
take the chicken out, put the chicken on a plate, and then like take the chicken stock and veggie and herb paste mixture, throw pasta in that, cook it in the stock,
Yeah.
right? And then you cook up the pasta, add in cheese and salt and pepper, put the chicken back in, let it warm up a little bit more. It's maybe the best chicken dish I've ever had in my life.
That
Shit
sounds
is
incredible.
it's
That
stupid.
sounds absolutely incredible from the way you describe that. Because it sounds sort of like to me it sounds like when I see somebody who's writing or rapping or making music at a level that's like more advanced than me, where I'm like, wait, whoa, like I'm like, oh, you did some shit, and it's not necessarily
Yeah.
resource intensive. It's just a skill thing. I noticed that.
Right.
So you describing that meal, I'm like, okay, this is the next level of like food science, where you're like, okay, like you know how to use the limited ingredients and go flip shit together, and I think that's cool. That's one thing I'm learning on this journey of having more time to myself. Is sort of like how I learn things, and just how the my understanding of craft as it applies to art can apply to literally everything in life.
Word.
I find that really really cool.
Yeah, I agree. Like I couldn't agree more. And I can't even take credit for that recipe because like I
Word.
said, it came out of cookbook, but like one but you know, like you said, I had like
Mm-hmm.
it was certain things I'd never thought to put together, but like when you do it and like even in the cookbook they describe it, the guy who wrote the book, he describes it as like this meal kind of flexes every basic cooking skill you could possibly imagine.
I
You know,
see.
like yeah, so like even hearing that, it's like it really is a way for you to bring all the basics together and turn something that would just be like, like your average, just like just like chicken over rice with some veggies into
Yeah.
something like a little more polished. Like it's not super fancy. Like I'm making it sound fancier than it is. It's ultimately just like chicken thighs over cheesy pasta with some veggies in it, but
Mm-hmm.
like but like the way you freak it is everything. You can make anything go stupid if you got either the imagination or the guidance in
Yeah.
this case to do it, you know?
Yo, and I think there's so many connections between food. Like I'm not surprised that a lot of artists are chefs or are really good at cooking. Even like my brother, he produces, and he was always good at cooking before he did music. Um, and I think it's just I can't explain like the neuroscience behind it because I don't know, but I have
Yeah,
noticed as I feel like I've gone into like a more cooking mentality as I've like been more productive musically, especially with things that I'm not usually doing. So like I always like I'm used to like the process of rapping. But like as I
yeah,
spend more time like sitting in my house designing, sitting in my house producing in a different way, I'm also noticing that I'm spending like I'm in the kitchen every day more than I'm used to. I think it's like I think like there's similar energies cuz you have your limited resources. I think the and what and like I want to connect this because I got super into food as a concept through the artists like Black Sum or Black Swim, whatever you say his name.
I'm
You
not
know,
familiar.
he I feel like you would really fuck with him. He makes like music based around
Oh,
fine
Black
dining.
Sam. You're
Yeah,
talking about
Black
Black.
Sam.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's his
Nah,
name.
I've
Okay, yeah,
had,
You
I've
know
had,
Black Sam.
I've had. He was on the podcast last season. That's
Yeah,
my homie Ben. Shout out to Ben. Sorry, I know
yeah.
exactly who that is.
Exactly. No, I was like, I was like, I was like, you know who Black Sam is. Like, it's very.
Yeah,
But no, like Black Sam put me on. Like,
yeah.
I listened to the Michelin Man album and I said,
The
based on
album's
the
nuts
way,
too.
yo, it is. Listen, that definitely inspired my album. Not consciously, but I listened to a lot of Black Sam at some point last year. So it definitely and he's such a good fucking rapper. Like
Yeah, man.
very, very like in the same lane as, rappers like me and the people around, like he is doing that, like I said, at like a different level to me. Like I'll read a Black Sam verse and it's like how you describe that meal, where it's like, oh,
Yeah,
this
man.
is a culinary like you were in the kitchen working. And I mean, I think he cooks too, like now. But yeah, no, he got me into this, the idea that food is an art, and even like I noticed, I look at a lot of restaurant like documentaries and stuff. I was always into Anthony Bourdain. Like I don't think I'm a good cook, but maybe that's why I'm into it. Like that's the one skill that I can't necessarily like replicate. But one thing that he did say in an interview, I think with the Passion of the Weiss, is that the difference between a kitchen and like any other space is that there's no room for mistakes in the kitchen. And that's one thing I notice in my cooking that I'm trying to fix up, is that whereas I would experiment in any artistic lens, it's like you can't really experiment that much in the kitchen without a very clear understanding of what you're doing. And I think that's the
Right.
thing. And so that's also something I'm sort of countering musically, where I'm like, my experimentation is rubbing up against my understanding of fundamentals, and I'm like, one of these things needs to like, one of these things needs to get right so the other thing can get right, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Yeah,
nah, thousand. Yeah, nah, 1,000%. I mean, like this could already go in 80 million different directions. But what's
exactly.
cracking, everybody? Welcome back to fucking Real Notes. We love a fucking cold open here. And before I
Yo,
get back into this, I gotta apologize. I gotta apologize to Ben again because he's a whole patron. If I didn't, if I'm, if I, if, you know, if I'm not here claiming my patrons, then I'm doing something wrong. So
yo,
yeah, shout out to Black Sam, shout out to Michelin Man.
yo,
Album's
Black
amazing.
Sam. Yo,
If Sun shows up in your area with with one of those, like he's doing, like he has like that themed chef nights around the Michelin Man album that he's trying to
mm-hmm.
like do all over the country. If he pulls up in your area and you're listening to this, go to one of those.
That
Don't miss it.
ass, that
Yeah.
ass. Cause I wish you pull up to. I never seen him pull up to New York.
Yeah,
So,
he did one time, but it was
mm,
but it came together in like 2 days, and I was like, oh man, I would have shown up if you did. But he said he's trying to come in 2026,
I see. I
so
mean,
I'm pulling up.
it's also New York City. Like that's one thing I
Right.
learned, is that the culinary world of New York is fucking insane.
Yeah, man. It's yeah. I'm nowhere near qualified to talk on any of it outside of
Me
wishing I could
neither.
get tables at certain places and shit.
Man, shout
Um,
out Tatiana's, because I mean the rap. I mean, not the rapper. The owner of Tatiana's was a rapper.
who is that?
Kwame, I can't pronounce his last name. It's Nigerian.
Hmm.
I would be able to if I had it in front of me, but I don't remember what the
I feel
words are.
you.
Um, but yeah, he said in an interview that he was like rapping, doing something else, and cooking at the same time, and cooking just popped off. So that's why he wasn't a rapper no more.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
But
and yeah,
yeah,
and like that, yeah, like that's what happens, like when you reach the fork in the road, it's like what's taking me where I need to go and getting me what I need, and
exactly.
like yeah, like yeah, and yeah, like you really gotta, like you said, you gotta know what you're doing to be a chef, because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like, because like it's one thing for somebody to like not like your music, it's something else entirely for you to like make a shitty meal that could like make somebody sick or
Bro.
injure somebody or like even just not taste good, like it's different when you're like consuming that shit for nourishment, you know
Mm-hmm.
like you got to be way, it's a lot more to take into account, at least in terms of like physical health. Obviously, like the
Yeah,
technician aspect of it is real key for both, but
exactly.
yeah. um but wow, like we're already deep in it, fucking.
Mm-hmm.
I got one of Jersey's finest with me here today, man.
Yo, thank you, man.
Yeah, nah, see, people be forgetting you're from Jersey
They
City,
do,
but
they
you're from
do.
fucking Jersey City.
I get
Yeah.
everything but Jersey. I get Detroit.
Same,
I
son.
get
Yeah.
I've gotten Philly before. I've got crazy shit. When I was in
Yo,
Michigan and everyone thought I was from Michigan. They were like, "Oh yeah, you from out here?" I said, "Hell no." Like,
that's honestly, that's kind of flavor, just because like, just like it means you can show up anywhere and people are just like, oh, you're one of us, like that.
yeah.
That's like real homey type
Yeah,
shit.
I honestly think it comes from like it's almost an accent thing, where I feel like I don't have a very distinct like regional accent of anywhere particularly. I might
Hmm.
talk in a certain way, but like default, and I think like neither do my parents necessarily. And so my dad moved around. So there was, I think I actually can like go a lot of places and just have a standard like way of speaking.
Yeah.
Until certain language or until something regional doesn't come up that would identify someone like someone from Florida's probably gonna sound real Florida.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just kind of have a general. So I think I could chameleon. But yes, I am from Jersey City, New Jersey.
Yeah, yeah, nah. Like speaking as somebody also
Yeah.
from Jersey, like that. Yeah, like I always got to make the distinction. But like,
Mm-hmm.
man, fucking rapper, producer, man about town.
Yo, for real.
Fucking yeah, Merk's here, Merkeba's here. Fucking Metal Snake is out. Go listen to it. It's
Go
fucking
listen,
dope.
man.
It's dope as shit, man. Like just don't. This is we got a lot to talk about. But bro, I'm so happy you're here. Like, thank you so much
Yo,
for wanting to
I'm
do this.
I'm happy. Yo, you don't understand. You don't understand. Because I think probably around the time that you would DM me on Twitter and I deleted the app, I would always be like, yo, Real Notes would be a perfect show to be on, seeing as I'm a rapper who also has like a weird film fascination. And by weird, I mean
See.
it totally makes sense in context. Like, I mean, it's my degree in college. But
Yeah, same. See?
so, and I'm not the only rapper with that experience. Ironically, we can get into that later because I don't think I'm
Yeah,
special. I really don't think me be interested in the film is anything strange or distinct from hip hop at all.
right.
But yeah, like I always thought this is a perfect approach, and it's funny because I was watching it's called The Killer, and I was like, this will be a perfect movie to talk about on Real Notes because I'm like, this is I'm hearing all the 36 chamber sound effects every scene, and it's a good movie, but I'm hearing 36 chamber sound effects every scene. I said, this is crazy.
Wow.
Um,
So,
yeah.
okay, so normally, I mean, like, amazing. Like, you're just preaching to the choir. That's my
Yeah.
whole shit too. So, I mean, normally the first question I ask is what was the last movie or TV show you watched you had a strong
Mhm.
opinion about? But the first question is, talk to me about that.
Yo, so okay, so I was always into The Killer by John Woo. Most of y'all
Yeah,
probably know about John Woo, but from middle school, I was always fascinated by the idea of John Woo movies and gun fu. I
yeah,
never fully got into like the kung fu stuff, but like that specifically, because at some point I watched Hard Boiled. I feel like
yeah,
Hard Boiled is like on the YouTube algorithm as like full movies to show people because I always see the full movie of Hard Boiled on YouTube. But I watched it, and if anyone who's seen that movie knows, especially if because when I'm talking about when I'm in middle school, so I'm not grasping on the nuances of character drama yet. All I know is that like long shots of crazy gun shit was wild. Like
yeah,
that movie is incredible only off the action scenes. And I was never that type of watcher. I don't really like action movies that much, quote unquote. I was never into Michael Bay. But that, like, I think the choreography aspect and the real, like, artfulness of the way that all that fight scene choreography and gun scene choreography and this way they set up scenes and everything like that, like, it really is very advanced, like the action filmmaking of John Woo. Especially if you want to talk about like analyzing things on a technical level, but also again like even the acting of Chow Yun Fat, like bro, he's
yeah,
every protagonist ever. Um, but no, like that I think opened up something in my mind, especially because I'll get into this later. I'm really into the differences, like kind of aesthetically and even rhythmically between like a Western film or American film and a non-American film. And so I find that I don't watch American movies that often at this point, but in watching The Killer, I was like, it's got its own rhythm. Like even the
yeah,
editing style, everything. Like I said, this is like within the Hong Kong context, which I don't know. I don't know that much about Hong Kong cinema beyond John Woo. But to get back to the point, so I watched, but so after Hard Boiled, there's a lot of movies within the I call it the heroic bloodshed genre that were made by John Woo that involve people shooting each other in suits in Hong Kong.
yeah.
Um, and this also comes off me watching Ghost in the Shell with a Purple Tape Pedigree PTV. They had a screening for the 30th anniversary.
Right. I'm so mad I couldn't be
Yeah,
there for that.
yo,
I
that
was
was
supposed to
amazing.
follow. Yeah.
That was amazing. Shout out PTP. Those are like my people, like my
Yeah,
friends.
shout out to Gang and all of them, man. They're
Yo,
all amazing.
bro, like especially like in the past, like especially in the second end of Metal Stick being made, definitely like had a lot of spiritual advice from like that group. But back to the point. So we had watched Ghost in the Shell like together, and I love watching movies in like in a group context now. Like I'm not big on watching them like in my own house anymore even, but based
Yeah.
on that experience, I noticed how it's Hong Kong in the movie and not Japan. I never noticed that, but it's a Hong Kong based movie. And so in watching The Killer, I think at the top of the week, I guess it's Tuesday. At some point I watched The Killer, which is really famous because it's the movie that inspired 36 Chambers. Like if you hear a lot of the sound effects or samples in that album that are from a movie are from this movie The Killer, the dub version, which I didn't watch. But
Yeah.
the moment you put on the movie, you're gonna recognize it. And even that skit in the 36 Chambers where they're like, yo, where my killer tape at? Where my killer tape at? I never knew what it was. I thought maybe they were talking about some type of master killer bootleg tape at some point. But now I'm like, wait, they're talking about the VHS of the movie The Killer by John Woo. And upon watching it, it's a really good movie, like legitimately. And I have pretty like pretentious standards for movies. It's very good. I think perfect storytelling, not perfect, but like for what it is, I had no notes. Yeah, and I recommend
Wow.
any Wu Tang fan like watch that movie because it's gonna make the album make a lot more sense. Um, a lot of people think it's strictly kung fu inspiration, but no, John Woo's a big part. And then John Woo actually, for better or for worse, taught RZA how to make movies.
Yeah.
Oh. He says it. He said he pulled up the John. I think that's why he started making movies. 'Cause I think
Yeah.
after whatever he got his foot in the door, he went to John Woo and said, "Can you teach me how to make movies?" And John Woo gave him whatever instruction he did, and that's how we get the man of the iron whatever fist shit.
Yeah. It was like I spoke to RZA for Flaunt earlier this year, and he
Oh.
and he mentioned that like it was people like John Woo, Quentin Tarantino, and then Jim
Mm-hmm.
Jarmusch played a big
Mm-hmm.
role in helping him make movies because of course like he scored
Yeah.
Ghost Dog, and that was like the first time he'd ever worked on a movie. And yeah, I mean like yeah, and you're like Wu Tang, yeah, I mean like Wu Tang and all of them are definitely inspired by like John Woo and like
Mm-hmm.
early and you're like a lot of kung fu flicks in particular because like him
Yeah.
and him and ODB were watching him and ODB were watching a lot of that stuff at like theaters
Mm-hmm.
in Times Square and stuff. I did a bunch of digging on this a couple of years ago because I wrote this big retrospective on 36 Chambers and just like all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then like of course like I feel like the big one for all of them was The Last Dragon. They were all really big on The Last Dragon too. But of course you gotta throw John Woo in there because like he was
Mm-hmm.
putting out stuff in like the late 70s, early 80s, going into the 90s, of course. And like John Woo, I'm pretty sure he's still making movies to this day. I
Probably.
could be wrong about that,
Like
but
I think so.
yeah, yeah, no, it's a lot. It's yeah, yeah, no, it's a lot of that type of shit, a lot of that type of shit in everything RZA had going on. But I mean, like you already did go over why you liked and enjoyed The Killer, but like,
Mm-hmm.
have you seen how'd you feel about Hard Boiled?
I watched it like almost over, definitely over 10 years ago, which is crazy to say. Because I'm only 24 years old, but um, but also that also is a case for a lot of movies. Like I watched them really young, and so I never watched them again. But I think Hard Boiled. It just was my first. I think it was one of my first times encountering a movie that wasn't like Western in context. That wasn't like anime because I'd
Hmm.
always been familiar with anime, and so that was my understanding of what a movie's like that is not like American. But I think that was like, oh, like this is completely disconnected from anything that you know, but it's still engaging because of like the universal aspects of how it's engaging you. And I think even
Hmm.
a movie like Ghost in the Shell does get to me on a similar level because there's nothing. I think like I wouldn't say they're similar stories at all, but I do think there's a certain universality in terms of the themes. And I think the killer, what is good about the killer and about hard boiled is, and this is a feature of the horror bloodshed genre, is that it's melodramatic. Um, like everything is like, oh my god, the girl got shot, so now I must avenge her, and then I'll sacrifice my life. Like it's very, very like romantic and everything, almost in a sense of like blowing up the masculinity to be like it's like not toxic. It's almost like performative. It's almost corny, but like in a
Mm-hmm.
way that's really like appealing to me. Because I think as I get older, I tend to like melodrama more if it's like understood for what it is in context. But I think it definitely works for the over the top nature of the action. The fact that it's not like they do the action, they're trying to make like fart jokes after like a Michael Bay movie. It's
Word.
like it's like no, there's like a pageantry to the gun shit, and then like I don't know. It's almost speaks to an older form of storytelling. Um, like you go back to like I don't know, eight epic poems and stuff. It's all melodramatic. It's all over the top. And so while I do tend to enjoy like I'm a big fan of like neorealism, like super like in your face. This is the reality. Nothing is stylized. Like that the also opposite is really true, and something about the John Woo style and maybe particularly how he handles masculinity I think appeals to me.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he made it, but Chow Yun Fat's in it, so I always
Mhm.
associate him with it.
Yeah.
There was this movie from like the early 2000s called Bulletproof Monk. I don't think
Mm.
John Woo made Bulletproof Monk. He probably didn't, and I'm tripping. Let me just see real quick. Um,
It sound like but John
Bullet
Woo Bulletproof Monk, like come on.
it it was directed by a guy named Paul Hunter, but like
Damn.
Bulletproof Monk, yeah, like Bulletproof Monk is in or at least it tries to ape all the stuff that John Woo was doing, and it's hard for it to not because like it's Chow Yun Fat doing his thing, so
Hmm.
it's like the two of them are kind of like this when it
Yeah.
comes to all that shit. But even just like I was thinking about this movie a couple days ago. There's this other joint called Shoot 'Em Up from '07,
Oh shit.
maybe sometime between like '05 and '07. It's got Clive Owen, Paul Giamatti, and Monica Bellucci in it. And Clive Owen's just this like he's this like gun expert who doesn't have a name. You like learn a little piecemeal things about him throughout the movie, and he's trying to save a baby from having its bone marrow extracted by this
What the
government
fuck?
official who needs a fucking bone marrow transplant. Long story,
Huh?
but like the movie is it's called Shoot 'Em Up. Like the guy's like a gun expert, plenty of really cool, crazy, inventive, interesting action scenes.
Yeah.
But like the guy is also actively trying to help pass a bill to enforce gun control as well. So it's a movie about gun control that's got a bunch of shooting in it. Like it's like
Whoa.
but
Whoa.
it's also like wild, melodramatic, and over the top and silly. It's like every kind of version of that action movie just like smushed into each other, and it kind of creates this singularity that I
Yeah.
love. It's fucking great.
It
It's
sounds good.
definitely it's a
I'm
personal favorite, you know.
see, these are the type of film recommendations I would only get from a Real Notes episode. Like as someone because again as someone who was like so to put it into context for people I studied film studies in school like as my
Yeah,
major with a little bit I say with a concentration in production but that was like two production classes so real talk I'm not better at quote unquote making movies than like someone I know who's gonna sell you like cinematography services like I'm not one of those and that's
yeah,
why you don't necessarily see me with the camera like but yeah I did the film studies program so most of it was like by the book film studies whatever and so I feel like I've been like inundated in so much of like the film buff to film nerd to film student discourse so there's so many of the same movies you get recommended within every if you go in every direction whether it's going to foreign going to like American anywhere there's like I'm super exposed to the canon whether I've watched it or not so
yeah,
getting like spaces where I can get recommended movies that I haven't heard before that aren't like extremely obscure. Um, that's what I'll find myself. But like a movie like that might have been forgotten from the '90s or something like that, or I don't know what era this is. Like that is super valuable to me. I think more so than any academic experience, because of
yeah,
yo, you see the same list. I mean, it's the same with fucking rap, bro. Oh my god,
yeah, man.
yo, oh
That's
my god, yo,
it's
my influences are Andre 3000, Lupe Fiasco, like.
yeah,
No
like
offense
all
to
right,
them, but
bro.
I was spotted by some gorillas, like
Yeah.
But I think you're making a point.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like, oh, what the fuck was I gonna say? I actually might have just lost it. Oh yeah. So yeah, the movies from the early, yeah, I want to say it's the early 2000s. And yeah, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So like I don't know, like that type of cultural shit is important because
Hmm.
even though I mean, like even though there's all this stuff that's canonized and important and like it gets mentioned all the time because it has that appeal. But I've always just been more fascinated with the stuff that's like just below the surface because I think that speaks to where culture generally was at even more
Yeah.
than just like the bigger stuff can or is willing to in a lot of cases, which is like like once again just like watching a movie like Shoot 'Em Up and just kind of putting two and two together on them being like, this is a movie that's like super duper ultra violent, but
Yeah.
also is like very staunchly pro gun control. Like especially like at that time in like the mid to late 2000s when gun control was like a big topic. Like it
Hmm.
was and like that's a movie that like 20% of people is gonna know, but it's also like you said, not like it's not super obscure. Like it was a relatively like it had a decent budget. It came out, I think it came out through some, it might have been like a Screen Gems Sony type
Hmm.
of thing, but that's still Sony at the end of the day. So like, like it wasn't it's not like this one thing that you'll only be able to find if you like buy it from like a Elmo on the street on some standing on the
Hmm.
corner shit. But
Yeah.
like it was definitely a thing that came out in theaters and a handful of people saw and was like, this is, I don't know, like it's like it's not that deep but also is that deep at the same
Yeah.
time. It's
No.
like I love stuff like that really like because like once again like that's the stuff, it's kind of like unfiltered and fascinating because of the fact that it's really capturing like what an era was like in a
Hmm.
way. I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of rambling, but I'm
No,
with
but
you. I'm
I
with you.
totally see. No, because that's a really important part of like my framework of film now. As I think about it, is it's literally a snapshot of what a place and time is. And so, if you extrapolate, my thing about film is that if you extrapolate that idea, I realize that film really helps me understand um things that go on not around me. So again, my frame
Yeah,
of reference for how most other places operate that aren't New Jersey or New York or anywhere I've been is through a movie. Um,
easy. Yeah.
even and really, what this became like a really big thing for me in my last semester of school because I mean I was going through school kind of like just I got the film degree because I literally thought about it strategically. I said if I study something that I am like is my super life's passion, which I'm not going to learn how to rap in school. So it's like already it's not an issue. So I said, I need something that I'm passionate enough to get the degree. But if you burn me out on it, I still have something else to do. And so I said, okay, film. Cause I was always drawn to it. Cause I think I was exposed to it. Like I think I was born in a perfect place to be inundated with like screen media without it
Yeah.
being brain rot yet. Cause they
That's
couldn't,
the yeah. Sorry.
yeah,
No.
no, no.
Finish your point. Sorry.
Yeah, no, because I know. No, I really noticed this because I was born right before the personal computing wave. Like right
Mm,
before it, it was well in like not like laptop, phone, all of that. I didn't get access to that stuff up until I was like maybe past 10 years old or something like that. So
yeah.
I'm being born to where we have all types of home videos, DVD, VHS. I grew up surrounded like in houses full of that and with parents who took me to the movie theater often because back in the day that was a cheap thing to do, especially if my parents had 3 kids, so it's like 3 kids sent to the movie. My dad was doing that up until like I became like an adult, quote unquote. Like was like,
Right.
okay, take your siblings to the movies, like it's whatever. And so yeah, I had a lot of formative experiences. Remember, like like being stuck in a dark room, immersed into a story. I think that was a super like one of the first artistic experiences for me. I think before music, I was conscious of being like wrapped into a story, and then um I'm going home, and this is the beginning of like franchises. So this is before MCU, obviously, but the fact
Hmm.
that there's a Spider-Man movie and then a Spider-Man TV show already blew my mind up. because it's like there's something to invest in. It's a world, it's a story, it's a universe. Like my brain was super early picking that up and putting it together. And so I think like film triggered for me a fascination with like the expansive worlds created within art. And I think it took me a while. It took me up until discovering I think certain forms of music like even progressive metal and stuff and hip hop that are very like multimedia. I don't know forms of music that start to tell a story or that get really visual that I started to develop my musical passion. And now I feel I'm more invested in sonics than anything else. But it started out by like wanting to see the same things I saw in film and TV franchises and individual movies and stuff reflected in a musical, work.
Right. Man, I mean, I'm happy we're already here because that was my
Yeah,
next question. Fucking yeah, like what's the first movie experience you can remember having? It could be at the theater, it could be at your cousin's house. I mean, like
yeah.
you've already started going off, so like
But no, because we get down to the actual movies though.
yeah,
So I don't remember this, but my mom told me I was one of those Elmo and Grouchland kids. I'm
really.
sure, yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only one.
My fault. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to shout out the Real Notes Patreon one time. For as little as $5 a month, you get exclusive goodies like video of every interview, 2-day early access to every interview, an invite to the Real Notes Discord server, exclusive access to the Real Talk Movie Night archive, and early pre-sale links for all live events. If you want to give a little more, you get other exclusives like retro 60-second movie reviews and monthly 90-minute workshops with me, where we can discuss whatever creative questions or projects you might have going on. Head over to patreon.com/realnotes. That's REELNOTES to join right now. I repeat, all videos will only be available on the Patreon. Thanks for listening. Shout out to my patrons. Now let's get back to talking.
But looking back on that movie, I think one, it's all children's movies are high melodrama.
Yeah.
So I think that gets to me. That's why to this day I don't like engaging with cute or like kids media because I'm like it's too emotionally raw. Like I think a lot of people like understand that it's like no, don't throw me like the little child is sad because the mom died because something like I don't want to see the cute animals doing all that. Like it really gets to me. Um, but yeah, like I think that type of melodrama I think really invested me as a kid because Elmo and Grouchland is like pretty dramatic movie.
Yeah.
In a kid's context, like it's a lot of important stuff happens. And I think that's sort of what a lot of the quote unquote brain rot we see now is missing is that I think when they were making media for children of our era, whether it be yours or mine, there was an understanding that you need to put in like stories and characters and things happening so that the children have a reference to understand like social work, like socializing, how things
Yeah.
work, and understand empathy. And so I think I was able to understand a lot of like empathy and whatever by engaging with just children's media where things were happening involving people's emotions. Where characters had personalities and stuff like that. And I noticed that I was drawn to something like Elmo and Grouchland more so than I was drawn to a cartoon, particularly Ed, Ed, and Eddie. I always had beef with Ed, Ed, and Eddie for this reason.
Why?
I was like, nothing changes. I was like, these people are going through the same thing all day. They're never gonna get the jawbreaker. They're never gonna get what they want. I'm like, you're having me just look at this nonsense. Okay, I was a weird kid. I was like, and I was like,
Oh
all I'm
shit.
seeing, I said, these kids are going through this negative feedback loop all the time for nothing. And maybe that's part of part of why I don't understand certain levels of capitalist accumulation. Because to me, I was like, we need to give up the jawbreaker hustle. But
Yeah.
that was my issue. Like I was like, this doesn't change. Like you're just throwing jokes at me. It's stupid. And late now, I'll probably like that shit more. Like now, I'll probably watch
Yeah.
Eddie and be like, "This is fucking hilarious." But
Yeah.
also, my brain probably didn't understand like satire at a certain level, which might have been a limitation. But so show back to the point. Anything that had a continuing story or characters or drama really invested in me. And so I think it goes from like Elmo and Grouchland into like the superhero movies, particularly Spider-Man 2. I wasn't old enough to remember Spider-Man 1 in theater, but I swear to God, I seen Spider-Man 2 in the theater and definitely Spider-Man 3. And by the time that we get to Spider-Man 3, this is where it all becomes full circle. Because I remember I didn't know the difference between a bootleg and a not bootleg at the time. It took me a while. Yeah, it took me a while. So to
Yeah.
me, it's just like sometimes the movie is free, and sometimes you have to go to theater for it. But Spider-Man 3 was one of those movies where we did not go to the theater. Um, my grandma, she used to run she used to just she's from Brooklyn. So she used to know all the people who peddle the CDs. So she had a large collection of new movies, Nigerian movies. That's basically it. So yeah, I was watching a lot of stuff on bootleg. I think which is probably a common experience, but super happily. But I remember, whereas Spider-Man 2, I do remember being in the theater and something about particularly seeing the crackle of film got to me. I think that textural part, because
Yeah.
that's it applies now for me. Like seeing that flicker was like, yo, this really is a different world. Like it's little flickers that come on. And that's something that I by the time my memories developed, I didn't see that anymore. Like they weren't having films, like film reels no more. By the time I turned like 10, definitely not. So that was like a really special early experience for me. Um, I think some other important movie experiences. I remember seeing that movie, like Adventures of Spiderwick or something like that.
Oh, the Spiderwick Chronicles, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah, the Spiderwick Chronicles.
yeah. I think any movie where they were entering some type of different world was really interesting me, because I thought like that could happen to me theoretically. Like if it's kids, they end up hanging out with the fairies or they become superheroes, something like that. I always found that cool, and so I remember that movie specifically was the first time I remember being in a movie, investing into the world, and feeling a sense of I still kind of feel like I'm there. Um, and now I experience that in a lot of different art, but that was particular. I was like, yo, like I can't access that thing again. There's no series, there's no nothing like that, but I want to.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm gonna say one more film. I think the the film that really did this for me in a way, I guess when I was like pubescent and like a little bit more aware, was remember The Breakfast Club and Heather's. Those two movies I watched on my damn phone, which I would never ever do now. If
Yeah.
I don't even watch nothing on the computer screen. It has to be the biggest screen possible. But no, I
Yeah.
was young watching. I mean, yeah, I was young watching movies
Yeah.
on my phone, in bed. But that shows where the passion is. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
No,
just,
yeah, no, we used to be watching movies on PSPs and shit, you know?
yo,
Like
that's real. That's real. I remember. I don't remember PSP like movies on PSP. I remember TV shows on PSP. Like they will put 2 episodes on the little UMD. I never had it. I was Nintendo. Y'all PSP kids was advanced. I always thought that was like, oh, y'all got real money. Y'all advanced. You got PSP. But it's at the same price. Like honestly. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, but no, like but I'm really glad I had that experience on my phone. Because I was even I remember I was like renting movies, like because Blockbuster died in my life. Like
Yeah.
I was I mean, I think your life too, but I was like still coming up. I remember I used to go to Blockbuster with my grandma, and that's also a big part of it. Is my grandma worked for a church, and so anyone who knows about church knows that you have an incredibly large amount of like children's media. Oh my
Yeah.
god! Like I to me, it felt like my grandma's house was like the floor was VHS. Like between the children's toys and the VHSs and a little bit of DVDs, but again, mostly VHS. And a lot of these from the 90s. So, the classic Nintendo, not Nintendo, Nickelodeon green, orange
Yeah, the
tapes.
orange
Yeah,
cassettes. Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
had all of those. Not all of them, but had a
Absolutely.
couple of those. In the Power Rangers movie, I remember I watched on VHS a lot.
Hmm.
X-Men movie I had on VHS a lot. So, and that's all that we did because um yeah, my grandma lived in Atlanta, so you're not exactly. Options are either you go run around Marietta, Georgia, in the little complex and stare at nothing, or play in the trees and shit, or you could watch movies inside. So definitely, if it's raining or something like that, we're watching movies inside. And again, there's no Netflix and nothing like that, so it's either what you have, which is basically Netflix at that point, or you go to Blockbuster down by the Kroger. And so I have many memories of my grandma driving us to the Blockbuster down by the Kroger. I'm saying all these details to remind myself because I feel like now in my experience, none of that is there. Like it's all so intentional. I have to consciously go and decide to consume a prestige movie on this app versus it's like,
Yeah.
no, I remember you took your ass to Blockbuster and then searching through the movies and
Yeah, yeah, no, you picked like the two or three that looked the most interesting, or like one that you really wanted to see, and
yeah,
then you got surprised by the other two or three. Yeah, like that. That's
exactly.
that's that's the vibe. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and even like I remember TV show episodes was big for me. Like I rented like the first couple episodes of the '90s Incredible Hulk TV show, which is surprisingly holds up. I realized as an adult, but yeah, just random stuff like that. What I like about my early film experience is I had no understanding of high and low. No pun intended. Because
Yeah,
that movie,
I see what you did
I
there.
seen
Yeah,
that
yeah,
movie, right? We should talk about that. High and low, no pun intended. Um,
yeah.
so it was like the anime was getting to me, and Die Hard was getting to me, and Harold and Kumar getting to me. I thought all movies was like canon. So I would go on DVR at some point and download and DVR every movie. Like it didn't matter
Yeah,
what it was. So to me, it was like it could have been Seven Samurai. It could have been Harold and Kumar. It could have been anything. I was treating it the same. But that brings me back to the point because I'm going in a circle. Heather's and Breakfast Club. 'Cause I think that was where I saw a movie where I'm being related to on a different level. I'm young, like again, I'm young in middle school, so emotions matter to me now. Like even drama around like girls and stuff, that invests me more. And so I remember I watched The Breakfast Club, and all I remember is by the time the movie ended, I felt like I knew these characters. I'm like, y'all could be my friends, except that would never happen because this level of segregation in those schools was crazy. But I'm sure there's no black people in that John Hughes school. But I also remember, and this would never happen now. I had like a weird crush on like the golf girl from the Breakfast Club.
mm,
I don't know. I mean, considering the things I'm interested in now, like artistically, I think it makes sense. Like what I saw as golf, but looking back, there was not even no like. It's just because you wear black don't mean you really got it. You know.
yeah, yeah. It's true. You
I
know.
was like, you're not. I said you didn't even put on the Cure in your Walkman. Like I'm not sure what's going on, but I guess. But on that tip, on a gothic tip, so after the Breakfast Club, I'm already like, okay, cool teen movies, and I watched Heather's. That movie's fucked up to this day. I don't like. I haven't seen it since then because I'm sure it is fucked up to this day. Oh my god, it felt like it felt like taking that idea and like turning it on its head and almost like deconstructing it or like just making it more fucked up. And I noticed that like, oh, that's what I really love in film is able to take an idea and push it, like extend it to the point where it has a different character now. And so like the John Hughes teen movie horror movie
Yeah,
was like my favorite shit. And I feel like, I'd probably like something of that ilk now. Like if they were to take an idea and extend it. I'm trying to think about a movie that did that recently. I swear I've seen it. That like well, okay, take a movie like The Substance, actually.
yeah,
Um that appeals to me on a very similar level to Heather's in terms of like it's getting dark in a way that is not necessarily like telegraphed via blackness or like but like the insanity and the level of violence is increasing while nothing gets visibly darker or more subdued. So it just like I don't know. I think that level of like horror I think still stays with me. I feel like the older
yeah.
ones from Heather's. That's the end of my long-winded answer.
I feel you because I mean like with that specifically like it's like it starts intense and it stays at like that base level of intense
Yeah.
and or it doesn't stay at that base level like it's not like it starts low and goes high, it starts
Yeah.
like 60% up and then it like goes up to like 250, like with that movie
Yeah.
with that movie in particular. I think that's part of the reason why I like it so much because it is like
Hmm.
really like like it pulls you in and then doesn't let go and it only gets tighter and tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I'm just still marinating on a lot of what you said, which makes me
Mm-hmm.
even more fascinated to find out. So, like, I mean, like, you get older and
Mm-hmm.
you start to develop your palate and your taste. I like to think of this next one as a capital M movie, like the
Mm-hmm.
one that really like stuck out, connected with you in like an
Yeah.
emotional, artistic, or spiritual sense, more than just like 90 minutes. You know, like like I'm happy you brought up the point of you not really having like much of a frame of reference
Mm-hmm.
for like highbrow versus lowbrow stuff and just kind of taking
Yeah.
everything in. So like so like what's the first movie you can remember that really did kind of strike you as like this is a film, like highbrow type shit?
Mm. I think when I was in that same era of watching movies on the screen, I
Yeah.
watched Blade Runner and Seven Samurai, which is
Oh, yeah.
crazy to me that I actually did watch Seven Samurai on the phone because I
Yeah, it's
couldn't do
kind of
that
loose.
now.
It's kind of loose.
I could barely watch Seven Samurai in the damn theater, much less now, much less on the damn phone. But I think I did it over sessions though. I think it would be like at night where I would already be like watching shit anyway. So I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna watch Seven Samurai, which honestly, again, back then I ain't have no Twitter, no bullshit like that. So it was probably a way better way of using my brain. Um,
Yeah.
because now I would be scrolling. Definitely, I'll tell you, if I'm on a bed at night, I'm scrolling Twitter, it's destroying my brain cells. But now, but yeah, so I watched Seven Samurai and Blade Runner, and I think Seven Samurai just like that movie is just like a good story universally, especially if you let yourself get to the end of it as like an anti young child. I was like, yo, this is actually cool. Like I think the epicness got to me. Um, but I
Shit is
think
fire. It's a great movie.
yeah, it really is.
I got my physical Criterion copy in my closet.
I
I
need
it's a prized
where
possession.
I need to get on that because I don't remember if I've seen it. I think I saw it in film school to know that I still like it, but it really does hold up. I think because and I love this. I love Kurosawa in general. Because for
Dope.
how epic his movies are, there's a really good sense of like character intimacy. And like he's such a good and I think a lot of Japanese movies are good at this in general. I love that filmmaking style because there's so much intimacy. Like even like so a lot of Seven Samurai and other of his movies are like there's a lot of interior moments, like literally. And so I think that kind of like showed me like, oh wow, like there's the highest level of film. And I think that was the first time I noticed that a film that theoretically would have no appeal to me because 3 hours of Japanese black and white drama could be fascinating. And so that probably made it easier to approach film study and be like, okay, even if it's not Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, I can still engage with it. And so Blade Runner is also to that point because I think I watched Ghost in the Shell in around this time too. I think I thought I got Ghost in the Shell. I don't think I fully got it until I watched it recently. But Blade
Hmm.
Runner, I've seen Blade Runner like a lot of times. I think, in different versions too. But what I remember about that movie was that was my first time encountering sci-fi that didn't like become the cool battle with lightsabers and shit. Like
Right,
I
right,
was
right.
like, oh yeah,
That
both of
makes
those
perfect sense.
yeah, like Ghost in the Shell and Blade Runner was like, oh, my brain is being stimulated purely by the concepts. And that goes into like when 2049 came out, I went on a whole retrospective again, and again, I find all that shit even more fascinating. Um, when it comes to when it comes to movies like Blade Runner. But yeah, that was I think those are the first two like super prestige movies that got to me, and then from
Yeah.
there it was kind of pick up all the canon possible. But even to this day, like it's certain things that I haven't really invested in. I'll say one more canon movie
Yeah.
that I encountered when I was young. I think Breathless by
Oh, Jean-Luc Godard. Yeah, I
yeah.
know the one you're talking about.
I don't think I've ever seen another one of his movies. Ironically, like um, I'm not as well watched on a French New Wave as I should be, but I watched Breathless earlier because it was told to me that it's an important movie, and
Yeah.
it had an appeal like The Breakfast Club did, where it's like, oh, this level of drama. I think in that sense, like seeing an adult character kind of like be examined in that way,
Yeah.
It really got to me, especially like the weirdness of the romance. I have a weird thing for like strange and troubled romances in films and stories. I don't know, like it probably parallels my own life shit. um, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so like I mean I also didn't really watch a ton of the only time I've ever watched anything like French New Wave, like Jean-Luc Godard, Francois Truffaut,
Mm-hmm.
all those people was also in film school. I saw
Mm-hmm.
Breathless and like a bunch of other Jean-Luc movies. My thesis, my college thesis, which I don't know if I've talked about maybe I have like
Mm.
once or twice, but like my college thesis was like I decided to take a handful of French New Wave filmmakers and then a handful of like rappers who were coming up at the time and kind of make like a hip
Oh,
hop new wave. I think the four
whoa!
at the time, the four I chose were Kendrick, Donald Glover, Tyler the Creator, and Chance the Rapper.
That is
They
an
were
incredible list for a
they
film.
were yeah, like I compared I compared one album from each of them to one to like a movie from the French New Wave. Like that was my college thesis. I
Bro,
got a B plus on it,
you should have got an
like
A. No, you should have got
yeah,
an A off the list. That like when you were about to say rappers, I was like, okay, which one? I didn't know what era you're gonna say, but you picked like the most cinematic rappers. Like
yeah,
you pick rappers who, because I'm about to say the I have to give Tyler the Creator credit for like bringing my love of film directly to hip hop. I think particularly like hip hop, like
yeah.
when I listened to, because I wasn't into Tyler like before Wolf, and I listened to Wolf 2 years later. Like I was
Wolf is
not trying to
crazy.
fuck with Tyler. Then I was like,
Yeah,
and what got to me was the storytelling aspect. I'm like, it's actually a really well executed concept album for delivering this story. It's very clear. I understand what the characters are doing. I understand there's a rising action element that you can. It's really weird how good it was. Like you
yeah,
can tell that Kendrick too.
yeah.
Good Kid, Mad City is remarkably good. Both of those,
It's
and I listened to those
yeah,
at the same time. Good Kid, Mad City, and Wolf would be interchangeably going through my headphones as I started high school. So it's really crazy how you said that, because yeah, like they were the people to tell me that you can make a movie audio only, essentially, down to the skits, down to the sound effects,
yeah,
and
man.
so and bro, and because the internet, I'm not a big Donald Glover fan beyond his funkadelic worship,
I
but
get it.
that is a good no. And the thing is about that album, I was just thinking about that album. I was like, Donald Glover tricked us because he noticed. I feel like he noticed that he's not that great of a like. I don't think he's that personally that great of like a rapper beyond just being a smart man who's talented. But I feel like he started slipping in more of this actually strangely good R&B into the music. But as he did that, I noticed that like, yo, because the internet is also a good delivered concept album. Like even if I don't love the verses going back, I always fuck with the way that album was structured.
Yeah,
A song like Earn, I think is like the most beautiful interlude ever.
yeah,
And again, it makes sense. He should have done this from the beginning of his career. Donald Glover is a good fucking filmmaker. Like he's good at that shit. Obviously, I mean beyond good, but um, yeah, like I'll always
yeah,
give him
man.
credit for that. I will watch another Donald Glover produced movie. Swarm is well made.
Yeah. Swarm was cool. I like Swarm.
Yeah,
And then of course like I've talked about I could talk about Atlanta all day, but like that's like so
that's a
like
good
it's incredible, bro. I love
bro.
Atlanta
My life feel like
so
Atlanta.
much.
Anytime I
Yeah,
watch Atlanta, it feel too close. Especially as I get older, it just feel like fuck, bro. Like
yeah. He tapped into something special with that. Like you
yeah,
could
man.
I mean like I have a lot of complicated feelings about especially a lot of Donald Glover's early stuff. Like I obviously am not jacking that shit no more
Yeah.
to an extent, but I love BTI. BTI is a personal favorite of mine. It's been that way
Mm-hmm.
forever, specifically because of all the shit you said. But like you
Yeah.
watch a show like Atlanta and you see how it went about, just like bringing that kind of like surreality to black life and just like to
Mm-hmm.
somebody who clearly grew up as a fan of rap music and understands the
Yeah.
culture. Like you could tell he gets it. Like it's like
Exactly.
it's so crazy because you'll hear him talk about other things and like his relationship to blackness, and it's
Hmm.
always real weird. But then you like watch that show and it's like, where's this guy? You know,
No,
like
dead
where's
ass.
he at? Like,
Yes, and I feel like and I feel like what it is that I'm not gonna say what the answer is because I don't know these people personally, but
yeah,
I
same.
feel like what you see is like what you see in a certain era. I feel like in the early 2010s or whatever he came up was like and I guess you were more aware when this happened, but like almost like I feel like the default for a black artsy male especially was to like be invested in this like indie like white adjacent like I like Asian
Oh,
girls
big
and
time,
and it's like
big fucking time.
but then I always sense of like but I'm like but before that was a thing, what were all these hipster dudes doing? Just being regular black people. Like y'all was just like being regular. Like I don't know. So um, and I feel like I see this play out to an extent in a modern paradigm, but it's like I like that an artist can always return to like, no, like what is ultimately going to be like a black working to middle class experience of probably malaise, especially suburban Atlanta could be a place where jack shit happens. I know from experience, like we just fucking living. I mean, so
Yeah,
can fucking Brooklyn. I mean, in my experience too. But
definitely.
that's one of those. Anywhere could be anywhere. But
Right.
it's like yo somebody like if say if I was like traveling to across art galleries in Europe talking about like the death of blackness or whatever, I might forget about the experience of like I might think I could forget to present the experience of like going to bodega to buy a honey bun as like central to my life, but I can always return to that. Fucking Tony Yayo talked about that shit. I think it's a perfect example. He talked about when he's doing his I'm eating caviar pancakes. He talks the one thing he'll say. I've seen this happen multiple times on Vad did like a reel of every time he talks about this shit. And multiple times he makes a comment about how even though he will eat the caviar pancakes, he will go back to a beef patty and cocoa bread.
Yeah.
And I feel like Atlanta is the version of Donald Glover saying, like, hey, I know y'all have seen me eating these caviar pancakes a
Yeah.
lot. And I'm gonna still eat the pancakes. But I do know what it's like to eat a beef patty and cocoa bread. Or in his
Right.
case, American deli.
See, like sometimes, sometimes you want the smoked duck, and sometimes you want the chopped cheese, you know, and like being able to meet in the middle on that is,
I don't ever
yeah,
want the chopped cheese anymore. That shit
I feel
crazy
you.
on my stomach, man. I had to
I get,
go. I had to go
yeah,
past that
nah,
shit.
I get it. Yeah, nah, man. Yeah, like after a while, it's just like, but
Give me the pancakes.
right. But nah, let's do the same thing with music.
Yeah,
You know, it's like when did music become capital M music for you? Not even in terms of you wanting to make music, but just
yeah.
like generally fucking with music.
Um, I would say my first memory of music is probably so okay, I'm gonna explain. Actually, I'm gonna tell the story of this context. So we're gonna go back from before I was born. So my parents, they're not musicians, like they don't make music, but they really love music, which is most people. But like they're very, I noticed that their listening habits are very similar to mine in that like they're not based on like necessarily trends, but they're just like very into their shit. So my mom, they both were like neo soul era, like that's where they met, and so they connected. Actually, I think over music in a lot of ways. My dad was really into Outkast, and then from there, he always tells me he liked like Led Zeppelin and stuff. So I
Yeah.
think his tastes are a little expansive in terms of the musicality that comes from neo soul adjacent stuff. So the way that a Outcast is gonna put like dub and rock and funk in there, I think that was sort of a frame of reference from my dad. Taste has expanded, and my mom, she Jamaican, and so her family was close to like the Marleys and stuff like that. But then she's also
Mm.
coming up in the '80s during the era of like I mean the pop of the '80s was like iconic. Prince Head Down. I have multiple Prince albums right there in my vinyls. Like Prince Head
Mhm.
Down. Also, she was working in music marketing in the early days of hip, not early days, but in the '90s. So she's from Queens, from Kid and Play from. She's best friends with Kwame. Um, Shout out Kwame. And then so she saw all this shit happening same way someone who knew me would see this happen. Um and then from there she was working in music marketing. So that's when she started to meet like Wu Tang. So I said a Wu Tang tape joke. She literally got the Wu Tang bootleg CD. Not bootleg CD, demo,
Yeah.
because she was on her way to Howard
Wow.
homecoming, and they were on the way too, and so they met her. And my mom was a pretty lady, so they was obviously all the rappers loved her. So they was so they obviously gonna, yeah, they're obviously gonna be like, oh, these pretty girls, they want they like our music, take our demo tape. I'm saying that because then it makes sense why she tells me she has interactions with a lot of different artists who went on to be really big. And looking back on it in context, I'm like, oh, it makes sense. You were just someone who's a part of the scene, like same with one of my friends would be. Um, and then she was there again before a lot of the money came in, because she says that after a certain point she wasn't trying to be close to that, because even imagining where like a lot of the weird shit with like Diddy comes in, there's an era where that starts. And so that's an awareness my mom kind of gave me, that like there was a certain point where people started to view women as groupies, as thinking they're sex workers versus homegirls in the scene. That's a lot of context
Right.
to say. So very invested into not just hip hop, but in alternative hip hop, the more progressive ends of music. And this is my mom in general. She's really big on like the part of neo soul that I think extends. I think like Soulquarians level neo soul. Whereas my dad is more into like, I would say, music soul child, a little bit more of the song based neo
Yeah.
soul. I would say,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
sing. But my dad just told me a couple days ago how he took my mom out to see D'Angelo on the Baltimore Harbor, like on an early date of theirs before I was born, making jokes. We were like, "Yo, that's probably how you like. That's probably how I got here." Like, but no, I think it makes sense though, because um, bringing it back to my actual life, I didn't really get aware of music around me up until my dad used to listen to what I just thought was an album every morning as we drove to school and work. And now I know that album was the roots, how I get through.
How I got over.
How I got over, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it wasn't until I listened to the album as a like teenager that I was like, "Oh, that was the this album," because you notice that album has really prominent hooks. So
Yep.
I didn't
It
understand
does.
any yet. So I didn't understand any of the words, but those hooks got to me. The "Dear God" hook, all of that. I was like, I could always have sung that from a child. Um, and so I think listening to that over and over again, while also listening to um my mom, I feel like didn't put a lot of music on us until I got older and older, and where she told me about Wu Tang. She told me about Nas. She told me about D'Angelo. I remember when Black Messiah dropped, that's when she told me, she was like, "Hey, D'Angelo has a new album," and then taught me like, "Hey, this is D'Angelo, he da 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 da." And so I like took that very directly, and I was like, wait, it might be like my parent shit, but I like it. Like early on, I was like, hold up, whoa. And so by the time, and I remember what really made me love hip hop was when the combination of lifestyle dropped and I discovered Protect Your Neck by Wu Tang. Yo, because I was into rock music heavy. I was into like punk and shit like that. I still am very much so, but I was just more so into that, and the rap didn't really get to me yet because we was in the snap. It went from snap era, ringtone era to like early 2010s. That didn't really get to me. Like blog era rap. I was young. It wasn't appealing to me. But once
Felt.
I heard that, once lifestyle came out, I said, "Oh shit, this appealed to me." It don't matter what. Listen,
Yeah.
that Young Thug melody,
Yeah.
universal.
Generational, bro.
Generation.
Seriously.
Let
I
time
yeah,
change.
like yeah,
Yo,
this shit was crazy. I
oh
yeah,
my
like
god.
yeah, like that whole that yeah, like that whole tape is incredible to this day. I remember
Mm,
first hearing it and being really into that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
shout out to Thug, R.I.P. to Quan, all that shit.
Mm. And
Yeah.
especially I think for me, earworm, like earworm melodies and catchy shit always got to me. Like it didn't matter if it was supposedly cool or not. Anything that was like in your fucking brain would always just get in my damn brain, whether I liked it
Mm.
or not. And again, I'm a little kid in the snap era, into the ringtone, whatever, into the early 2010s blog era rap. So a lot of like kitschy shit. three note melodies, like that era of rap, I think was like a big thing. And I feel like by the time you see an artist like Kendrick come out, that's when we're getting into a lot more of the music that I invested in through my writerly mind. Cause
Right.
yeah, right after once I
Sure.
discovered like Wu Tang and all that, I developed the ear for listening to lyrics. Then I discovered early Earl, like not like Earl as you think of him now, Earl, the era Earl.
Yeah,
And
yeah, 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 yeah. The big
I was
tape.
like, this
Yeah.
some weird shit, but I'm like, this nigga rapping though, like, oh, like this nigga really got something. And then I got into
Yeah.
Doris, and you could clearly hear I like Earl Sweatshirt in my music. Not
Yeah,
saying I
man.
copy, but I
Like,
mean, they gonna say it for me anyway. So if I'm saying yes, he
hey,
clearly is an inspiration.
yeah, nah. He has a long tail for sure.
Long,
He's got a
he
long
a good
tail for
rap.
sure.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he's
listen,
great.
he a good
He's
rapper.
amazing. One of my
Yeah,
favorites. I'm so serious when I say that too.
yeah, yeah.
I
Not
just
let
yeah,
him.
yeah. No, I just mean like he's inspired a ton of people, and it's like he's at that level
Yeah,
now where we can really be honest and be like
yeah.
he kind of he birthed a lot of people,
He birthed a lot of
you
people.
know,
Same way I think the Velvet Underground birthed a lot of people. I
for
didn't
sure.
notice.
Yeah,
I didn't understand how that stuff worked fully until later. I was like, oh, sometimes like the inspiration is just one artist that might not be that far from you. Like people say they saw, because I saw Earl when I was young, like 15 years old. I seen Earl rap, and I was like, oh, this is what it's like to be a rapper on a stage, like just delivering that. I think that was an important experience for me. But to kind of wrap everything up, but I think I'm telling this like as a story on purpose because there's multiple levels to me discovering shit, and after every discovery I feel like it transforms me. But yeah, my parents were a big part of it up until I feel that I decided to tap in with Kendrick, tap in with the Roots again, tap in with Earl, tap in with Tyler. Same thing. I was tapping in with Deftones, like shit like that. Like I don't know. Um, but then Doom, Doom to me
yeah,
was the
man.
first time I fuck with something rap wise where I'm like, I don't even think my peers or necessarily my parents will understand the appeal to this. Ironically, I think my mom like knows who KMD is. And obviously not who Doom is, but like that's how small world it is. Um, but yeah, like once I discovered Operation Doomsday, I remember I was moving between houses um in high school or the beginning of high school, so we had no internet for a while. And so I would be chilling in the house with whatever I had downloaded on my between my iPad and my computer, I mean my phone. And so I was just stuck with like mad albums. And the albums would be Tupac, the double CD, I forgot the name of it.
All eyes on me, right?
Yeah, All Eyes on Me, the Biggie double CD that I actually never go back to, ironically. Operation Doomsday, shit like that. I forgot, I think Doris too, but yeah, shit like that. And Doom was like, yo, I'm into rapping now. Like, what he say? Like, oh, I need to look up this word that he said, like
Yeah,
density in rap song. And once I caught that pill, and once I had enough time when I was sitting bored through life trying to figure out what he said on Red and Gold for the 15th time, I should have known I was gonna be a rapper.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah, man.
Like Doom did the same for me. You know, like I first discovered him through the
Yeah.
Boondocks, and then yeah, because I mean, like at that time I was like real big into like crunk and snap music,
Hmm.
and like that's like I was like really into like everything I was hearing on the radio and stuff
Yeah.
I'd hear in like video game and movie soundtracks, and then I heard Doom, and that inspired like like the digging started with Doom,
Hmm.
and yeah, like we're not the only people who that started with, and like
Hell no.
and it's interesting because I mean like you're not that much younger than me, but like we kind of we're like we're definitely a few years apart, but it's
Yeah.
just it's really funny to hear that like you and I had more or less like the same kind of like nexus moment, like the
Yeah.
brain blast moment with Doom, but so like you mentioned all of that,
Hmm.
and now you got the bug in a way you didn't
Yeah.
have it before.
Hmm.
So when did you know music? Or I mean, you kind of already answered the when did you know music was going to become more than just a hobby thing. But like when did well I mean we could go a little further with it.
Yeah.
When did you know you were gonna like actually start rapping as opposed to like, oh, I want to be a rapper? Like when did you
Oh,
know it was time?
oh no, this is a good. That's a really good question. So it took almost 5 years of me stopping and starting because I remember as soon as I heard Wu Tang, I just knew I was like, I'm gonna rap too. But I also said I was gonna be like Jimi Hendrix too. Like I said a lot of shit when I was young. But in
Yeah.
my head, I was like, cause I had a guitar. I said in my head, I said I'm gonna become John Frusciante from Red Hot Chili Peppers. But I'm also gonna be a rapper, and I said I'm gonna be the first one to do that. Clearly, it's not. I mean, clearly, I wouldn't be the first one to do that. Nor have
Right.
I achieved that. But nor do I want to. Well, I think it'd be cool to be both of those people. Um, I think John Frusciante and RZA did like work together or some shit. I think actually, wait, facts. I think they actually work together, and I think you probably rather catch John Frusciante making like a beat than making guitar right now. But that's not
Hey man.
relevant. But the point is, I knew I wanted to like be that. But I remember when I got to high school, that's when I first had the idea of like, wait, I should really make some rap. But I didn't have any means to make music at all. So I thought about it. I said, but I still want to be a rapper though. So I said, what I'm gonna do. I think my mom worked from home or some shit. And so I was like, well, I can't rap if my mom home. Cause I had no like privacy in my house. So I was like, well, shit. So what I'm gonna do is if she goes on vacation or something, I'm gonna and usually kids think of bad shit to do. I was thinking about this. I said, listen, if my mom ever leaves the house for an extended period of time, what I can do is go in the basement, open up the laptop, and rap into the laptop microphone. And I'll make a rap album. But my only thing was I said, but am I gonna make the beats or am I gonna just rap over Mob Deep instrumental? That was my real question. And I said,
Good
I should
question.
probably make the beat. And I say all this to say is that clearly from that point, I never proceeded to make that project. So there is no self-produced 15-year-old me rapping. And that is because I think I knew I didn't have shit to say. I would try to rap. And I would come up with some verses that were probably not bad, but I recognized that I was talking about shit that was nonsense. Like all I knew how to do, when I was young, I was like, you gotta rap about selling crack.
Yeah.
But I didn't do
Right.
that shit. So
Right.
like, I'm thinking that you
Right.
gotta rap about selling crack. So like, I'm trying to make like these little bars as if I'm like some crazy hood nigga, and I'm like a nerdy 14-year-old, like more nerdy than the average person. So I think I knew it wasn't working on an aesthetic level, and
Right.
so I just let it kind of like, but I would always want to do it and I would try to come up with shit, but I think I just didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to talk about. I didn't know a level of introspection I could reach in a rap context. And it literally took me becoming a spoken word poet. Like I took my desire to rap and I said, listen, I'm gonna do spoken word poetry because I can talk about various different topics without the limitation of a rhyming or rap aesthetic or anything like that. And I did. And I think I got good at it to the point where I'm probably better at poetry than rapping at this point, but I don't see it as different. But I got
Yeah.
super super into that, wanted to be that like as a career. It's about as much a career as rapping. But like that was going to be my thing to replace my desire to be a rapper. I
Right.
thought I can't do I was like I guess I don't have what it takes. But then when I was in high school, so I went to a predominantly white institution, but then my
Yeah.
the black kids, we always into like music and shit, obviously. So they started freestyling amongst themselves. And so I started joining in. And I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't wasn't trying to be nice. I was just like, fuck it. I'm around y'all. Let me rap too. And I started rapping. And I remember it's off the dome freestyling nonsense, not taking it seriously. I still have tapes of this shit to this day. But we were trying, as much as we were joking, we were actually trying to put together good verses. It was like a sport. It was like, yo. And so we was doing lyrical shit. We was singing. We was like, whatever the beat called for us, we were trying to fit it musically. So it was actually really good rap education. Like I literally came up, no, like I came up off melodic raps first. Um, that's how I discovered that I could sing and rap at the same time. Is because I would just hear fucking Smino type beat and just do something to it. Um,
Yeah.
I threw like I had like a Dean Spencer name drop in like an early tape. That shows like how funny shows where I was at musically. Because this is also the same time I started rapping around the time I found artists like Mike and them,
Yeah.
2018 Mavi. Like I found all these artists, and then niggas around me started rapping. And then I remember my friend who made music. She probably still make it now. Um, she was like, "Yo, I want a feature on my song," and I was like, "Yo, if you tell me to do a feature for your song, I might actually write this rap. So just send me the beat." And I listened to it and I said, "Damn, bro, I think I'm gonna be rapping the beats for a considerable period of time." I had that thought. I was like, I'm trying to tell myself I'm gonna do this poetry shit, but this bug is catching me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so by the time I went to college, I told myself like, yo, I'm gonna use the privacy of my dorm room to make rap music. Little did I know I would have no fucking privacy. It's freshman year. You're getting a double. Your roommate is not leaving the room. Um, but luckily I met my mentor in this rap shit, who was a student at my school. Everyone was like, yo, you remind me of this guy Rob. Shout out to Rob Apollo. He's
Yeah.
a
Shout out to Rob
You
Apollo.
know about him. You know about Rob
Oh,
Apollo.
I do know about
Yeah.
Rob Apollo.
So
Yeah.
yo, for anyone interested in the lore, I am a Rob Apollo protege. Like literally, he taught me how to do this shit. It doesn't make sense on a musical level, maybe, but I am literally a Rob Apollo protege. The same way, like that whole Jay Z Biggie shit. It's more so than that. Like I really came up with that nigga. Um, but no, he literally took me under his wing and was like, "Hey, I see you." He was rapping. I wanted to rap, but had no resources and never had recorded a song before or written one. So he literally was like, "Yo, I'm gonna come to my home studio in his room." Integrated me into his friend group. It was teaching me how to record. And so the first time I wrote a rap was at his house. He was like, "Yo, this is beat playing. Let's just rap to it." I said, "Fuck it." I went in the kitchen. I was trying to come up. I was just like going through verses or going through lines, trying to come up with something. After 45 minutes of mumbling, I came up with a whole verse. I rapped it and thought nothing of it. And then till a couple months later, he's like, "Yo, what's your rap name?" I said, "What?" He said, "That verse, that song you did, we're putting it out. What's your rap name?" I was like, "Oh."
Hmm.
And then from there, I was like, "Well, I'm gonna continue." And so it was structured. I would go to his apartment in St. Louis, which is down the street, every like week or multiple times a week, and then record. And so he would feed me the beats. He showed me how to, put everything together on the microphone, how to do levels and all that. And so I was very quickly an artist that had producers. Like I got beats from my friend. Shout out to Zay. Shout out to Nova
Yep.
Blue. Great producers. Gave me their first beat. Gave my first beats. Shout out to producers. I later on bought beats from people like June 8th and stuff like that. But yeah, it was super natural. I feel like I took a long, gradual journey from being shy and timid about rapping and want to do other shit to fuck it. I'm just a rapper now, I guess. Again, for better or
Yeah.
for worse.
Right. And yeah, that's where stuff like Atlas and Isadora and No Gods and No
Mm-hmm.
Masters and stuff like that come from.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the old era. All that music was
yeah.
recorded 2021 to 2022, and
Hmm.
we sat on it. I think that's the weird thing. Like I made 2021 before I put out the Desperado, my first single. I made a considerable amount of work. The first EP, the first couple singles, and then the Don't Get Brave album with Rob, all made before 2022. And then we sat on it for a year and then put it out strategically. And so and I feel like I've tried to be consistent from then. I haven't been successful, but that's the nature of humanity.
Right.
But yeah, metal. Honestly, after like 2022, when I put that music out, up until 2023, I was working on Metal Snake. So
Right.
a lot of what
Yeah.
I make is what is being heard. I put out a lot of music I make.
Right. Yeah, no, because of course, like you've been pretty public about this.
Mm,
Like a Metal Snake is like it was made over the course of like 2, 3 years. And, like a lot of it comes from various different parts of your life. You've
Mm-hmm.
been through a bunch of shit. You're very raw and open on this project. You produced the whole thing yourself. You mixed it yourself. Like it's about as personal as a debut album could possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
And just like considering that considering that you're at this very tender moment where you've kind of had the bug for a while. You made some
Mm-hmm.
songs, you worked with people. You and Rob have a whole album together. Like that
Mm-hmm.
happens, but then it's just like, okay, I'm ready to start putting together the personal statement piece. Like this is kind of me on a disc type shit.
Mm-hmm.
So considering that this came about over the course of a couple years, talk to me about putting Metal Snake together, and like,
Mm.
or even before we get to Metal Snake specifically, like of course there's the Viola EP, which is kind of like the prelude to Metal Snake,
It's
which
so
like,
funny that you called it viola and not mandolin.
oh my
Because
God, why did I
no, but
say?
it's so no, that's fucking hilarious. No, that is hilarious. I'm gonna put out a viola EP now. Dead
Wow,
ass.
crazy.
That
That's
is
funny as
fucking
hell.
no because
I was,
it wasn't violin. It wasn't violin. That should make more sense. It was viola. You was thinking.
yo, because it's so funny. I was just listening to the shit before we hopped on the phone, and
Yeah.
in my head, I'm like, this mandolin shit is so cool, but I don't know where the fuck viola came from.
There's
That's
no
funny.
violas or mandolin in any song I've ever made in my life.
Right. So like that was gonna be my question.
Yeah.
Why mandolin? Like why the stringed instrument, and what connection does that have to Metal Snake?
Yo, so this is I don't remember why the mandolin. So I just get random downloads. So I don't know why the word mandolin was like on my mind, but it was for a while. And then I came up with a line of like life's a mandolin, I play the strings, let my feelings in, or something along the
Word.
line. I think the metaphor of me playing like navigating the various weird things of life kind of like strategically in a sense of almost as if I'm playing it really should be called guitar, but mandolin sounds better. But
Right.
it's really guitar reference. And I think I was having a weird experience looking at a lot of people like people who are playing guitar or just like always into it, but seeing people use a string instrument in order to project an incredible amount of feeling, and then again knowing the amount of knowledge has to go into playing that, and I was like, that's a metaphor for how I feel like I'm dealing with life. Like I have to know what the fuck I'm doing on a rhythmic level, on like what I'm saying, like everything. Um, so yeah, that's how kind of like that's like where the mandolin idea comes from for that song.
Hmm. And like, and so like what connection does all that have to a Metal Snake? Because I know it's all from generally the same era of creation,
Yeah.
but like why was that the prelude to a Metal Snake specifically?
Well, so the story of how the album started was that I had no intention of making a self-produced album at all. I was making an album with producer Funk Shui from No Label, which
Shout
you guys
out.
will shout out to him. I hope it'll still come together. Um, but I remember I had a snag in my writing where I was writing too similar stuff on his beats, and so I said, okay, um, I found a sample. The sample from that mandolin is on. I heard it and I was like, "Yo, this is a loop. I hear it so clearly." And so I showed it to James Feng Shui. I was like, "Yo, like, what do you think of this flip?" I basically wanted him to flip it for me, like, and based on how I described the chop, he was like, "Just do it yourself." Or I described it to him and he didn't like make it, and I was like, "Oh, like, I guess you want me to do it myself? Like, I guess I can."
Yeah, man.
And so I did, and from working on that beat, I was like, okay, I got to rap on it now. And I found that experience really rewarding. And I decided I always wanted to be a self produced rapper, but I was just overthought it. I thought, I can't
Yeah.
make no beats. And then I did, and I made another one. And I was going to make a half me, half other producers album. And then I was like, as I made more beats, I was like, I could do the whole shit myself, actually. I'm on.
Mother necessity, baby. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then everything else, me handling came from just that start. I was like, because I was a broke college student, so I didn't have resources to even buy beats or I guess even reimburse producers after the fact. So I said, let me. I don't want to fuck anyone over economically. That's my big thing. So I'll do it
Right.
myself, and did. And so I'm glad that I gave myself the time over the years to get better at my skills. And so an album that could have been one level of quality ended up being what it is now. I can stand by it because I put my modern touch into it as I've grown. Because it's like I carried this album in my laptop across all different parts of my life and was consistently working on it. And I found that, and it's really as I was working on it that the themes came together. It wasn't super like, I'm going to make an album with this concept. It was,
Right.
yeah, it was the snake stuff was appearing in my raps. And then everything that I rap about happened. And so it all came together in this code of like perfect, almost ethereal way.
That's so dope because to me, because like in my notes over here, the first thing I thought was that like Metal Snake, it feels like a patchwork quilt, like
Mm,
in the sense of like how like a quilt can be made from like different types of material and fabric, but it all kind of connects. So like that's because like of course you mentioned in the liners, the bio
mm,
that you have on the thing that it's like this is from a bunch of different time or of course it's from a different bunch of different time periods because it takes place over
mm.
or because it was made over 3 years but
Yeah.
like various different emotional states like
Yeah.
you're going through love and loss and grief and figuring out young adulthood and being
Mm,
just like being black like generally
yeah.
that's just like like that's going to color no pun intended I guess everything we say and do
Mm,
so like in that sense this project really does feel like a patchwork quilt of you and to have that be the first statement is just
mm.
like real dope and fascinating especially
Thank you.
because yeah no doubt like see like I listened to a song like Seeing Red and there's a line on the back half of it that feels kind of like the thesis of the joint. It's just like you'll be something like music got a rise out of me. I press this pain into precious metal, and it's like
Mm.
that's the album
I
thesis
didn't
right
catch.
there.
Wait, I didn't catch
Like
that was. I didn't catch the metal because whoa, I didn't name the album a Metal Snake until later. So I never put together that I said that.
man, you was just
Whoa.
talking,
I was just talking,
bro.
and that's the thing I'll say about those. A lot of
Yeah,
those thesis lines, those lines that are really, I think, are really land in terms of the whole theme of the thing, are lines that I almost feel were derivative, or lines that I probably was almost not going to put in there, but thought like, let me throw it in there because it's honest. Because and it turned out to be like, oh, that was my subconscious like putting good information because it's like I would probably think that line is corny, like yo, I do the music, da da da, but it's like that ass, like.
yeah, that's what it is.
Mm,
Like it really does come down to some like like the simplest answer is usually the most correct one, and that's what it is. That's what you do. And like another thing that I've kind of like I was thinking about it before we hopped on the call, but especially now that we kind of talked about this way at the beginning of this conversation, you had talked earlier about just like how certain aspects of melodrama can feel performative,
mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of pain on this album, and you're being raw enough to give it to people, and that's always something I think about in terms of just like having to there's a certain way people approach music that's this raw and introspective and honest and painful. And it's just like, it always makes me think about the person putting the pain in the music and how
Mm,
they feel about, to a certain extent, and not in like a bad way,
mm,
performing their pain.
yeah.
Like so like I just wonder if that's something you think about while you write, while you produce, and just like while you were making this album, like was that aspect of like, oh man, like I'm kind of
Mm.
performing this pain right now, like is has that something that's been has that some is that something that's weighed on you? Do you care about that shit? Like
I think it's funny. I'm glad that you like understood level of pain because I think sometimes I don't, in the sense of I feel like I approach all my music with almost a sense of like, I'd say irony, or in the way that I think about rapping it, I like to mix moods a lot in terms of like how I talk about things, how I feel in general. So the way I like to approach like a dark topic sometimes or lately hasn't been to super like go into the depths of like the darkness. And I could do a better job of that or like approach that differently. But for me, when I start the rapping, I never necessarily feel super bad or like think intentionally I'm gonna rap about unfortunate things that happen. It just
Right.
comes out. Like it just and so sometimes I think the way I cope with all this is by sort of wrapping it with a smile. Um and it may not seem like it, especially when I perform live because the level of intensity I bring there that might cathartically communicate the pain more than I intend to, but definitely when I rap it, I'm sort of approaching it on like a sly level of like, okay, let me like kind of joke around with myself about like what's going on. Even if it's very passionate. So even when I say like, I press this pain into precious metal, I think about it like, well, obviously I'm in pain. Like it's not on some like crazy shit. It's like whatever's because I don't feel like anything that happens in my life is crazy. I think
Right.
I'm extremely blessed. I think I'm super lucky. I think I'm generally a happy person. I think that a lot of the issues that frankly I encountered on Metal Snake are probably my fault. In terms of things I've reconciled with and moved on from.
More
Very
honesty, yeah.
yeah, because they're very human experiences. It's like it's not like
Yeah.
or at least like it's not coming from a level of like super crazy like economic subjugation or like a very vulnerable experience that like in the grand scheme of like life and shit like that. It's more so like I'm a regular person going through shit because I'm a young nigga. It's like and so I think the way I talk about it is like it comes off as painful because I guess the amount in which I feel shit. Like I'm a very sensitive person. Um but when I talk about it, I'm just like, yo, this what happened, y'all. Look, da
Yeah.
da da, like literally in that
Definitely.
tone. And then what I say, and it comes off when I talk to people about shit too. I'll be like, yo, and then this happened to me. And I'm like, da 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 da. And they're like, that's crazy. And I'm like, it is?
It's like word, like yeah.
I'm like, because to me, I hear all types of shit. And people, I feel like my life is absurd. So I feel like I hear all types of shit from other people that I'm like, yo, you should rap about that.
Mm.
Um, but for me, I just trying to dig from whatever mundane experiences I have and like try to describe them in the most poetic way or in a way that honors how I felt about it in the moment. And so when I do rap Metal Snake live, I definitely feel what you're saying about like the heaviness gets to me. I'm like, oh, because I'm re-saying it again. I'm like, oh, fuck. But going into preparation for the release show, I really had to like come to terms with myself about that and some the shame that can come around that because I do feel a lot of shame, especially I think a lot of these issues are my fault. Like could be like, yo, what the fuck am I doing? Like I'm just coming here talking about some weird shit that happened. Like, but then I'm like, nah, I put it out. I said this is my art. I love it so much. So let me tell people that and maybe they can relate. And
Yeah.
and so like it definitely comes across when I perform live, and that's why I say certain comments like, oh, I hope I never write a song like this ever again. Because I'm like, because I think about like the bad experiences that came about for that, not even necessarily for me, but maybe for another person. Sometimes I'm not describing my pain, maybe I'm describing the pain that I caused another person. I'm like, fuck,
Yeah.
I did this. Like, I hope I never produce this feeling again because that's so bad.
Yeah.
Um,
How could that shit not sting? Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, and maybe maybe I feel better about it like that. Maybe if I'm like
Right.
trying to honor accountability. And so when I say I hope I never write an album like this again or write a song like this again, I'm only saying that in the sense of like I hope I don't make the same mistake. Like I
Right.
hope I'm talking about some shit next, it's like something else. Um, but yeah, it's a
For
long-winded
sure.
answer.
Yeah. Yeah, nah, just like living, yeah, like living and learning is the important part, especially,
Mm-hmm.
especially being like the age you are. Like
Mm-hmm.
that shit matters, and I appreciate you making this. I appreciate you specifying the difference between like you suffering something versus inflicting something on somebody else, because that is
Mm-hmm.
like I said, like I said, like you said, like that's a lot of what's in here, and kind of having that holistic picture. Like it's like it makes it makes the work more interesting to dissect from a writing perspective. On top of the
Mm,
fact that like your beats sound dope and like you know your way around the loop.
word.
And
Thank you.
yeah, no doubt. I'm happy you brought it to the release show because that was going to be the last thing I asked about before we wrap this up. So
Mm,
like that show was really dope and special, not just because you got to go and perform your debut album at this really dope spot in front of a lot of really cool people, but just considering the lineup of that show and the fact that all of y'all on that bill are kind of in this when we think about indie and underground rap in New York
mm,
City right now, obviously a lot of big names like Backwoods comes up,
mm,
10K comes up. We love Backwoods. We love 10K. Like everybody on the bill that night,
mm,
including you, feels like these guys got next.
mm,
Like you like in the sense of cause like cause like there was a conversation being had somewhere on Twitter just about the notion of like like because Backwoods kind of has the hot hand
yeah.
right now, it's like all people want to talk about is Backwoods, which like once again,
Mm.
I'm not the person who's saying to talk about like I'm the Backwoods dude. Like I
I love their
love
music, man.
yeah, like like they're amazing. But somebody, I can't remember who it was, I'm so sorry if I'm blanking on it. Somebody had brought up the notion that it's like Backwoods isn't the only thing happening in the underground, and
Mm,
they themselves would tell you that. And being around y'all that night, I was like, this, depending on where this goes, we're gonna
mm,
see people in similar positions in maybe like 5, 10 years.
word.
You know,
Yo, God
like
willing. God willing.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, like it really did feel like like it felt like oh man, I was at the Merkeba show like when he put out Metal Snake type of moment. Like
Word.
like I was at the No Label set. Like yeah, I'm like I saw Jalen, I
Mm.
saw I'm blanking on the
Okay,
fourth
Belon.
name. Yes, she's amazing. I never
Amazing.
ever remember how to pronounce her name. She's so incredible. If she's listening, I'm so sorry. She forgot my name when she shouted me out during the show. So I don't feel as bad, but it's all good. It's all love. She's great.
Yo, shout out, shout out everybody on the bill because I really
Yeah,
appreciate you
man.
saying that because I really tried. It wasn't hard to curate, but I knew that I wanted to do a show with these artists because I go down the list. But like when I first seen Jane perform, I was like, oh shit, like they really bring us something different musically that I really fuck with because I see a lot of performances. So a lot of it is like good music, but the performance aspect doesn't necessarily interest me as much. But with Jane, I was like, oh, this is some different music, and like the performance is cool. So I said, this is the perfect vibe for the show that I would want to see and want to do because you can imagine me at a show with mad rap niggas, and it's like I've been at
Word,
shows that are like that, but I'm like I always want to curate a vibe that's more closer to what I might listen to. I listen to Jane music a lot. Again, nigga, it's different. It's really like I don't know. It's just my shit. And then when it comes to artists like Alkebulan, I would start as a fan. When I discovered Alkebulan music, my homegirl Wawan put me on, and then I was just like, "Yo, this is my favorite shit." Like, A Bowl for Lilith was my favorite album of 2024. Like that, I would listen to that shit all the time, over and over again. I was going to work, like, fuck, man, I'm like struggling through the day, but I'm listening to Lil Birdie before I go into work just to feel, my soul invigorated. And then I got to get to know them, and so I was like, yo, if I get the opportunity to perform without Kebulon, that'd be perfect. Cause you say like, oh, niggas are up next. I'm like, when Kendrick said that line about like if if hip hop was about rapping, Killer Mike would be platinum. I don't agree with that
yeah.
sentiment at all.
Me either. No,
Yeah.
not at this point. Not at this point. Not at this, and for different reasons that I won't get into. But yeah, I don't agree
Yeah.
either.
So we're not
Yo,
jacking that. but,
word, word.
but that's how I feel about fucking Alkebulan. I'm like, yo, Alkebulan should have been popping. I said the only reason why niggas is not on fucking Earth Agency book tour right now it's probably because shit is so different. Niggas not ready for it yet, but niggas about to get ready.
Yeah.
Shahara perform all types of time. And again, if you see Shahara sing, you're automatically converted. It don't matter how strange the music is. I don't mean strange in a bad way. Trust me, I love that
Yeah,
shit.
man.
And that's the thing. It's like, yo, fuck what people might think they want to see. I'm gonna show niggas what they really want to see. And so, that was a blessing. And then no label, that's just my niggas, bro. Like
Yeah.
the first show I've ever curated in 2022, Silk Fest at Living Gallery, way back in the day, was the first no label performance. That was because I was friends with Amiri and I got to know all of them through Amiri. And I was like, yo, have y'all he was like, yo, we got a group called No Label now. I was like, fuck it, y'all perform, bro. Like, and that was the first
Hmm.
performance. And I know when I seen Warren OG rap after me, I was like, he got it. The same thing you said about niggas up next. I said he's up next. I said he
Yeah,
literally
bro.
got it. I said this is the next rap. And then from there, the nigga went to fucking Finland, bro. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's like, again, from there, the nigga went to England, Finland, all types of shit. So and
Yeah, bro.
and yeah, so a nigga just put out an album with Big Flowers right now. You know,
Yep.
Nas done, had a lot of success. He put on types of shit. He nigga got his own fan base and shit like that. The fucking artist Steph, fucking Funk Shui and Buddy Not Bud, they got their whole DJ shit popping now. They had their
Yeah,
own event.
man.
Everybody in No Label got their own shit. Miri got his own shit popping. Like, and so even get the opportunity to all them years later get them to perform with me. I'm like, yo, I'm glad. Listen, I got the hottest band in New York.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
Um,
they're really like that. Like
like that.
I mean I'm like I've mentioned it a handful of times
Mm,
on here. I've had OG on, but
mm.
like people who don't know, like watch out for fucking No Label. They've been
Yo, them
it's only a matter of time. Like it's only a matter of time before you start seeing them on every these guys are popping next list and see like
yo,
it's all it's coming. It's coming.
no, you bloggers need to tap. Not you, but like these blogging niggas need to tap in. That's the thing. It's like, yo, I know that these niggas could pop off if the right, people who listen type shit, they really invest. Cause it's all a propaganda game. And I'm like, I know niggas got the music, man. Cause I hear the niggas out here right now popping off, and I'm like, the music is great, but the music's comparable. I always feel like my niggas is best niggas out. Maybe I'm bugging, but I always feel like my niggas is some of the most innovative niggas out in terms of who's really doing shit. And so in terms of niggas in New York rapping, no label got it. I think I got it to an extent, but I don't got to
Yeah,
speak for
man.
nobody. But I think we got it. And so it's just a matter of the music. Cause my thing is I just want to make like a dent in the music in terms of like what the listeners can absorb. The same way that when I was absorbing shit, listening to music, I always wanted to find the next thing. Like I always want to find the next rapper. Like I was trying to tap in. So I wonder when
Yeah.
I do shit, I'm like, would I know about me if I was like a fan? If I wasn't me, would I know about Merkaba? Like would I be a
Ooh.
fan? Would I think like he's an artist that's presenting himself in a way or operating in a way that would like get me to tap in? Because I'm a type of nigga where if I listened and I like the Metal Snake, I would champion that nigga. So, or that's the same way I feel about no label. So I just hope that I can provide music that can reach somebody that may not even know me and be like, yo, this is inspiring, cool rap that can make music in general that can make my life better. And so
Exactly.
the more people that tap in, the more that the effect can happen. So everybody spread my shit. Everybody spread the label shit. Everybody spread Kebulon shit. Everybody spread Jane
Yep.
shit. We fantastic artists. No bullshit. No AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
All if a thousand, thou wow, million% on all of that shit. By the time y'all hear this, there might not be any CDs left, but if there are, go get a Metal Snake CD.
listen. I'll listen.
I got mine. I got mine.
Listen, the
I got
CD is the
mine.
best way to listen, man. I made them.
Yeah.
I handmade the CD. I bought the CD cases. This is not disc makers. Shout out disc makers, but I didn't. I could not afford that shit. So I
Shout
literally
out.
got the CDs, the jewel case from Staples, printed at Staples. I was cutting the shits up in Staples at first. I had to move over to my house
Hmm.
with the scissors,
Yeah.
but I designed everything. This album has been my chance to really be a designer. I never thought of myself as one before in any way, shape, or form. But then like just like getting the impulse to make all the material has really taught me like, oh, I might have an eye for this, or at least like I've started to make a vocabulary for myself that like I can pick a new vocabulary and like just practice it more. So I'm excited to get, just more artistic with my shit. But yeah, bro,
Word.
like hopefully CDs will be available. If not, buy the album on Bandcamp. You get the bonus tracks, which are pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, More music coming at some point, probably not soon, but at some point.
Word. Damn. Well, to formally wrap this very thorough, crazy, fun conversation up,
Yeah,
son, Tyler, Merk, if your life
yeah.
was a movie, what would it be about?
It would be about. Mm, I guess it would be one of those movies that's like a fake, not like a biopic of a real artist, but like a story of like a fake artist. But a movie I would always want to see, where there's like a real rap movie about a rapper coming up that features like real artists rapping, kind of like on some what Juice almost was, besides the horror movie murder aspect with Tupac. But like, oh, like this artist is really coming up, and we're seeing like a kind of movie musical aspect on some Purple Rain shit, but with rap. And then you're also getting, a view of my personal life, obviously. But it will be like a cool. I want it to be like a cool kind of indie type film, not A24 type, but like maybe you get like a mixture of Terrence Nance and Barry Jenkins to make this shit, and just make sure all
Word.
my niggas can have like really long take rap shots, like again Purple Rain type shit, where we just devote 7 minutes to the musical performance, and the movie has to be 2 hours and 30 minutes long. We'll just do that, and a crazy soundtrack, the crazy ass soundtrack.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't expect nothing less, especially on the
Mm-hmm.
soundtrack front. Just as long as there's no
Yeah.
as long as there's no open shots being let off in the elevator like in Juice,
Yeah, that is not a thing in my life. So
I
thank
feel you, of course.
blessings, blessings. Some
Yeah,
niggas' story
yeah.
might have that shit in it.
Hey,
Blessings.
man,
Listen, all you might see is some chaotic school based scenes.
let's go.
Listen, you might see some crazy shit. But yep.
Fire. Damn. I mean, thank you, bro. This
Thank
was,
you, thank you.
yeah, like this has been one I've been looking forward to for a
I've been
while.
looking
Like
for
yo,
shit. I've been
so
one. I
like,
was like, I want to get on real notes. Fuck it.
I remember like the last time I saw you before I
Mm,
saw you at your show was when
yeah,
you were still teaching, and
yeah,
you told me this album was coming,
yeah,
and you were like, it's gonna be a big one, and I'm like, I know, I'm knowing,
yeah.
and then you heard it, and now like from then I was like, we're doing one at some point,
Word,
and
word.
we did it.
We did
I'm
it.
just like I'm proud of you, man.
Yo,
Like
thank you.
this is the beginning of something beautiful. I can tell already.
Thank you. I'm just trying to do my part in the grand scheme of the whole thing.
Yeah, that's all we can do, bro. That's all we can do.
Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.